Don't worry, I'm not muted. I'm stretching. Uh, Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. It's been a little while. I hope you've been well. I am okay. Had a good time. Good time. Had the girls here for spring break, and it was awesome. I planned to do shows the whole time, but it just didn't work out. My sleeping schedule was so weird. I've most nights for the last week and a half, I've not slept more than an hour, and it's made me a little bit crazy. But last night I laid down and I was like, oh, I'm going to get up in about an hour, expecting to wake up around 10 or 11 o'clock. And I slept till 3. And I was like, I can deal with this. This is nice. This is real nice. I was going to do a show yesterday too. And then I ended up playing a video game for 5 hours on stream. Whoopsie. But we're back and we're going to talk about stuff because that's what I do. I'm gonna just be real honest. I have not looked at the internet really in weeks, or probably 2.5 weeks. I've only been on like Twitch, or not Twitch, Twitter, maybe a couple of minutes each day, and I don't like it. I don't. I don't like missing the internet. I know a lot of people when they go away for a week or so, they come back. They're like, "Oh, I feel so refreshed. I got away. I disconnected." And I never feel that way when I leave. I always feel more like, huh, I like the internet. I want to go play on my playground. I never see this as a chore. And so I just feel a little lost right now because I've been away from it so much. And yeah, we have nothing to talk about because I don't know anything going on. And that's the show for the day. No, I did get a video sent to me by, okay, not sharing, but I was told I should watch this video with Jake Tapper and Tim Walz. And normally that's something I would do on my own because it's Tim Walz. How interesting can it be? But I thought, fuck it, we'll do a live reaction to that one. It'll give us something to talk about. The other thing, our last show right after we ended, Marty, our good friend P Dog Knight, told us it was his birthday and I had missed it. So, P Dog, this one's for you, my friend. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear P Dog. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. I hope you had a good one. I really, really do. Sorry we missed you and it's taken so long for me to get back on the air. Speaking of birthdays, without mentioning dates, you guys know Little Butt turned 10 recently? Little Butt is 10 years old now. Oh my God, I'm old as shit. She turned 10. She's in double digits. I remember turning 10. It's one of the few birthdays I do remember because I was so excited to finally have double digits. And now that I'm turning 50 this year, I'm like, sure do miss those single digits. I moved a lot easier back in the day. But yeah, Little Butt is 10. Oh, I'm so old. I'm so old. Anyway, the Walz video. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's Tim Walz being Tim Walz as best I can understand it. And it's with Jake Tapper. So, all right, CNN and Tim Walz together seems like a, you know, interesting. I'll do my best to make it interesting. I don't know how interesting it's going to be because again, it's CNN and Tim Walz. So let's dive right in.
An agriculture-heavy state, one of the top 5 in the country, I believe. What's your reaction to what you just heard from the agriculture secretary?
I've not seen more than this, so I have no idea what the agriculture secretary had just said. So, before we move on, does anybody know how Nuts got suspended on Twitter? I was just getting ready for the show, and Bran mentioned that Nuts was gone, disappeared, and so I looked it up, and yeah, she's been suspended. I've been listening to you so long that Little Butt is growing up so fast. Yes, thank you, Tyrod, for the donation. Yes, she is, isn't she? She has basically been here my entire YouTube journey. I started this not long after she was born. She might have been 1 at the time when I started this. All right. Nuts always being super edgy. I know. How the hell did Nuts get suspended? I haven't even been suspended since Elon's been running things. And I've said some pretty fucked up things over there. If I'm just being perfectly honest about it. There she is. Good morning, Monk. I didn't do a damn thing. Honest. I want to believe you. I want to believe you. But remember, I'm always the one saying you're really, really good, and you're like, no, I have a bad side. So now I'm curious if somebody triggered your bad side. I'm glad to see you're okay though. Because yeah, when I saw nuts had disappeared, I was like, what the hell happened? And then I went and looked and I saw it was suspended. I'm like, did she use a gamer word? What did you do? What did you do? I posted a puppy pic. Really? Okay. Are you playing with me, or this was it like a puppy being eaten by a Korean or something? Something we're supposed to pretend doesn't actually happen. Anyway, let's get to agriculture boy here. By the way, it's good to see you, Nuts.
Yeah, good morning, Jake. Well, I'm stunned. Your questions were spot on. It's very clear that she talked about the people she's listening to. That is not the agricultural community. It is certainly not producers. It's not folks like Cargill, CHS, General Mills, who are out in my district. Look, this is a really precarious time.
Is General Mills an agricultural producer? I know they make cereals and shit, but do they actually produce the stuff they're making it with? My hand to God. Did you happen to appeal it, Nuts?
And the flippant nature
I have
that
no
we're
idea
just
what they're
trying
talking about.
something new here is really dangerous. These markets took us years to develop, and we have to be dependable trading partners. They don't come back overnight, and everyone knows in the history of trade wars.
Actually, our trade partners will come back overnight because this is where the money is. This is where the money is. Technically, yes. I mean, they produce cereals and stuff, but when it comes to the actual growing of the agricultural products, is General Mills directly involved?
Agriculture gets hit the hardest, so I'm deeply concerned. It's our
I'm
number
sure you
one
are.
export. Adding the tariffs, our two biggest, export markets are Mexico and Canada. They're our great friends. This is just really, really terrifying.
I'm so tired of hearing about our great friends and the tariff thing. Look, Trump is doing tariffs the wrong way. It's supposed to go through Congress, but at least we're finally starting to talk about tariffs. They permanently suspended me over a puppy picture. Does your cousin have an account? If they do, have them follow me and I'll follow back. I'm so tired of hearing about what great friends Canada and Mexico are. They're our great friends. Canada's been fucking us with tariffs for years. It's what Trump has been trying to bring attention to. Mexico's not a good friend. Neither of them are great friends. Neither of them are. Both of them take advantage of us, and they have no problem putting tariffs on us. But dear God, if we mention that we're going to, which Canadian was it? One of their leaders was like, Trump worked out this trade deal. Basically saying, yeah, we're taking advantage of it. Okay. Maybe the first deal wasn't great. We already know that NAFTA wasn't. But these assholes throw tariffs on us, and we're just like, okay, cool. The U.S. is a good trading partner. No one is a good trading partner to you. Yeah, because we have the money. And everybody knows it. Anyway.
To encourage, and I'll call the secretary. I'd encourage her to come to Minnesota and see everything.
How did Tim Walz become a thing? How did this? Okay, do you guys remember when Hillary ran for president? You guys remember that whole debacle? Do you remember who she ran with? Do you remember her VP? Now I do, but I do this for a living, and I would hazard a guess that 99% of people in the United States could not tell you her running mate. You know why? Because losers go away and we don't hear from them again. We haven't had this much attention to a loser vice president since Nixon, and he was running for president at the time. Nobody, who the fuck has a vice presidential loser become the face of their party? I don't understand it. Were they serious when they're like, hey, Tim Tim Walz is the future of manhood. Are they really trying to push that shit? It was an extremely pale old white guy, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It was Tim Kaine, out of what, Virginia, right? I want to say he was out of Virginia. Don't quote me on that one.
Thing that she said is not what's happening on the ground. So look, it's a precarious time.
So let me ask you, because another group you're in touch with, the United Auto Workers Union, you have a lot of that. They have supported you for years and years and years. They were excited to have you on the Democratic ticket. President Trump argued
The United Auto Workers was. Did anybody get the feeling of excitement from the United Auto Workers over Tim Walz? Michael, thank you so much. Hey. Technically, the last time was Mike Pence. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but even when Pence was on his fuck Trump tour there, nobody paid attention to him. They would put him on shows now and then he ran for president, and everybody just kind of chuckled under their breath, and he went away.
that these tariffs are needed to bring America.
They are purposefully building this guy up. If you've watched politics long enough, you'll recognize this. This is a media push for this guy, which is kind of funny when the Democrats' whole thing was diversity. And they're like, we got this girl where she's got ethnic backgrounds. We can't decide which one we want to run on. And now they're like, here's old white guy. It's funny to me that they're pumping him up like this because he doesn't have the charisma. I know they think he does because he wins in Wisconsin or Minnesota. Where's he from? Minnesota, Wisconsin? I always forget. Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota even. That's a fucking blue state. How come you guys can never find a Democrat who does well in a Republican state? It's never one who did well in a red state, right? Like, it's funny to me that their answer is always, here's this other guy from a blue place. Here's this other guy who believes in little boys having period. Well, that was fun. Oh my goodness. Da, 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 da. Where was I? Hi guys, sorry, I'm trying to get things back to where they were. Everything just kind of blinked out on me for a second there, and I don't know why. Everything was working, it just stopped working. Everybody hear me now? Are we good? There we go. Son of a bitch. Maybe I'm just not supposed to stream anymore. Maybe that's the lesson here. What was I talking about? Oh, the left doubling down with Walz here. They're taking the exact wrong approach. And it's great. It's glorious because they are going to pump up this fucking retard. This guy who is all about things like DEI and trans rights and all kinds of nonsense that nobody gives a shit about. People are like, I just want to live my life. You know, the whole trans thing. I just want to live my life. So here, I'm going to put it in front of everybody so you'll judge me and I can get attention. They're listening to the people who said, and I love that they are, because every time I've seen it, I've prayed for it, but they are listening to the people who say, we have to go further left. We got to go further left. And yes, please do that. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Keep pumping this guy up. Make him the face of your party because he's a retard. And it will ensure that while, yes, the right is way more left than it should be, at least it'll be a slower bleed than if we hired somebody like Tim Walz.
In manufacturing back and to help American workers left behind in places like Minnesota. He has support from the UAW. The UAW called his auto tariffs, quote, a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country rather than the greed of ruthless corporations, unquote. I have to say, that sounds a lot like language you would use. What do you say to the UAW?
Yes.
This is what I was talking about the other day on our last show. In the tariff fight, it's always been the Democratic position until Clinton, when he gets NAFTA passed for the Republicans. But it had always been the Democrat thing that tariffs were a good thing. It helps protect your workers, and it does. It does. That's the truth about tariffs. It helps. Free trade is nonsensical because there's no real such thing as free trade. If you're only paying your workers 10 cents and I have to pay mine at minimum $7.50, we're not trading on a fair playing field. It's just not fair. So the whole nonsense about free trade, it's not free. Somebody's giving something to get something. And we've always used tariffs to even the playing field some. That's what you use it for. You can also use it as punishments, and it has led to wars, I'm not going to lie. But there's a thing called regulations. Yeah, regulations hurt American workers. It's another part that has never made sense to me about the Democratic Party, where they're like, we support workers, but we need tariffs, we need regulations on all this shit so that we can't even have businesses run. It's annoying. But it is amazing to me that it's taken this long. I mean, Tim Walz he's getting ready to agree. He already started to that. Yeah, that's something I would say. He didn't say any of this shit during the campaign. Do you remember him talking about how we needed to raise tariffs on auto manufacturers overseas? Because I sure as fuck don't. And I watched a lot of this shit. Non-tariff barriers. Yeah, that seems to be the talking point. I see Navarro had been out there talking about non-tariff barriers. Things like, what was his specific example? Sitting in customs for weeks at a time. There's other barriers, especially things like regulations. I mean, you don't see a lot of companies come build factories here because of how many regulations we have. It's insane. There is a lot more going on than just tariffs, but tariffs are one of the few things that you can directly control. And Congress could do the, you know what Congress could easily do if they really believe in like fair trade? They could institute a policy that we will match all foreign tariffs. There you go. There's your free trade right there. Whatever tariffs are put on us, we will instantaneously put on them. Now, we'll never do that because it's not necessarily good business. We have to understand that those countries want, tariffs to help their workers. They want the advantage as well because that's how they pay their bills.
It is what I would use. And here's the thing that the Democrats have to figure out. Donald Trump's language around this, he's not wrong that we've had manufacturing gutted. He's not wrong that we saw an outshoring. People of my generation were told, there aren't going to be any manufacturing jobs.
Wait. Didn't Biden tell us that he brought manufacturing back? I mean, technically it was Trump who did it in his first term, but Biden liked to take credit for the return to manufacturing. Thank you, FL. This is my biggest problem with libtard or lolberts. There we go. The idea that more free trade fixes everything. Did it fix it? Did it fix the auto industry, American lumber, steel? No, it doesn't fix any of that shit. It really doesn't. And Republicans, in their long-held belief on free trade, because they were the free traders, were wrong. Because it doesn't make sense. It looks good on paper. Hey, we should be able to go get cheap foreign labor and not have to deal with any environmental regulations so that I can make more money. I understand the appeal of that. But what you're basically talking about is proxy running your business through another country so you can make money here. And it's kind of a disgusting practice. It is capitalism, and I don't have a problem with it in theory. Because that's capitalism, baby.
So you need to go to college and rack up student loan debt. The problem is Donald Trump's solution to this is not the solution. Now, UAW is right.
Wait. That is language that I would use. So what he said that to was the UAW saying that Trump was right on tariffs because it was helping auto manufacturers. And then you said, yep, Trump's got the right rhetoric, but he's doing the wrong thing. Okay. You just said that the language that the UAW did supporting Trump's tariffs was what you yourself would say, but Trump's doing it wrong. Maybe he's going to say it should go through Congress. Maybe that's his point, but I highly doubt it.
Certain tariffs, if they're on to steel or if they're targeted correctly, do make a difference. That's not what we're dealing with here. So just last week, 650 taconite miners are laid off. Those taconite miners are mining the taconite to make the steel to build the automobiles. So I don't disagree where they're at, and I think this is the Democratic.
Where the I don't know what taconite is. Is 600 of them were laid off because of tariffs? I'll have to dig into that story more because maybe whoever we were selling the American taconite to was like, no, we're going to put, shouldn't that make it so that the American companies be like, hey, we can do that now because everything's even and we can just, no, probably not. One of the things I will always hate Bush for was his pandering to the steel industry in America because he threw tariffs on that didn't need to be on there. We were already paying more for foreign steel. American steel is crap. It's trash. And if you're in steel out there right now, let me just be clear here. Your industry is trash. You guys make garbage. We should be sending the steel from America to third worlds because I don't want buildings here falling down. I don't want cars here crumpling. Your steel is trash. And that's why people were buying foreign steel, specifically European steel. But I really do not understand Tim's point here. We should target it to just, we're, for the most part, matching tariffs. We're like, they're retaliatory tariffs. And no, we're not going to just like with steel, right? Let's say somebody overseas has high tariffs on our steel. If we put high tariffs on their steel, like, look, that's fair, that's even. Sure, unless they don't manufacture much steel. He's just talking so vaguely about a very nuanced topic because Democrats are stupid and will never actually dig into the nuance of it. All they have to hear is Wall Street went down a little bit. By the way, all of the people freaking out about Wall Street are making me laugh my ass off. Do you know how many billionaires are going to be created because of all of this? Because the smart people are not panicking and selling. They're like, yeah, keep selling cheap because I'm going to buy that shit up. And when the stock market bounces back, like it literally always does, I'm going to make bank.
Dilemma. Donald Trump talks about the things that are real in the angst of people's lives. He doesn't do a damn thing about it. In fact, he does just the opposite.
Okay, let's stop right there. Let's just stop right there. Donald Trump talks about the things that people care about and the angst in their lives, but he doesn't do a damn thing about it. Okay. What have you guys talked about that people actually care about? Seriously, you gave tampons to little boys. That's your legacy. Hey, nobody was talking about this, but I did it anyway. Does that really seem like a winning strategy to you? Is that your idea of leadership? Trump's talking about these things, but I don't like the way he's doing it, is what you really mean. Because you honestly don't fucking know. You idiots thought he was doing wrong the whole time he was in the first time, and the economy was booming until you gave us COVID. It was doing great. And you guys had no clue. And you're mad because he resonates with, maybe this is why they all think, hey, we just spoke too academically. I love that fucking line from these idiots. We just spoke too academically. Trump speaks to the people at the, you know what they see? I bet you. I would bet money that if you talk to them, they would tell you that Donald Trump speaks down. He speaks down at that low level of them, the rubes, those idiots who are just trying to get through their fucking day. Trump can't solve what's that? Triffin's paradox. It's in the name. Paradox?
Pals around with the people that caused the problem, and we don't.
You're not wrong, because he did used to hang out with a ton of Democrats. But Tim's point here is, I know, the billionaires.
Offer them a solution, so it looks like we're not hearing them. So I disagree with Sean Fain and UAW on this issue. I don't disagree with them on that we made decisions over the last 30 to 40 years that I don't think helped America, but this is not the solution to it. Isolating.
So you're saying that you agreed with everything they said except for Trump's tariffs are good, which if you take that out, all you're saying is the auto industry has been screwed. So, I mean, I guess in that case, you probably should have clarified that earlier than this rambling minute-long. Tim Walz is harder to watch sometimes than Kamala was, because he's saying nothing while saying a shit ton of words. I could grant him, if that's what he was saying, that he thinks that the American auto worker has been screwed over, and they have, largely by their unions and their Democratic representatives who have pushed union nonsense and regulations as a way to try to save manufacturing and the environment and the whales and everything. Devil Fruit, thank you. Hey, Monkey, it's my birthday. Can I get a song? Of course you can. Glad you're back. Hopefully it's for a while. It's boring without you two. Yeah, I plan to be. And after this, I'm going to be doing a game stream. So if you're really bored, you can listen to that too. But Devil Fruit, this is for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Devil Fruit Zero. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I hope you have a good one, my friend. I really, really do. April is birthday month in my house. So we have more birthdays in April than any other month. And I'm saying happy birthday a lot. And we got a lot of them in the audience. I know Nuts' birthday is this month. P-Dog's just happened. Mine's this month. There's like 3 or 4 others that all pop up around April. And maybe I just notice April more because it's my birth month, you know. I am known to be a little self-serving.
Ourselves not the solution. We need to make sure that we're focusing. And again, I would just end with this, Jake. Donald Trump has not once ever cared about workers. This is why you need to support unions across the board, support the ability to have a living wage.
So you okay. Donald Trump isn't, he doesn't care about the workers. He ain't doing nothing. What is it you have even offered that should be done, sir? What have you suggested to help the auto worker? Just going out there and say, look, I'm not one of those people that, hey, if you don't have a solution, you can't point out a problem. No, you can see a problem and not know the solution, right? If somebody writes down 2 + 2 and you don't know how to do math, you can still recognize it's a math problem. Just because you don't have the answer doesn't mean you're wrong to go, yeah, that's a problem. But you didn't offer anything. And you're sitting here, he's not doing anything. As a politician, if if your whole thing is I'm here to help you, because for some reason that's what the politicians have decided their job is. I'm here to help you. Shouldn't you have a solution other than that guy sucks? You can't just sit there and say, he even mentioned, it probably got cut with the way that I've been jumping around here, not jumping around, EFAPing it. He even mentioned that they haven't offered a solution. So just running out there, at least Donald Trump is trying something. This is why it's resonating with people that you wouldn't think it would resonate with, right? Because Donald Trump is Hitler. And the auto workers are going, Hitler's trying to save our business. At least he's trying to do something other than just like, we need to hire more women to work in this field because that's what's really important. What studies have shown is that women businesses that don't go out of business don't go out of business. Sure, a lot of them fail, but the ones that don't fail, they do good. So we need to have women everywhere. You guys have turned your entire party into nothing but nonsensical, character trait-driven dribble. It's crap. You give nothing academic thought. I wouldn't even call it academic thought. It is pseudo-academic thought. It is, I got high and had this great idea. We always, people, especially in movies and television, they get high and they have some really deep meaning, right? Like, I can't even think of an example, but some kind of thing that we all should have looked at. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. What really happens when people get high is they go, Fruit Loops, there's no fruit in it, bro. And that's as deep as their thinking gets. It's like somebody got really high and tried to have a deep intellectual discussion. If you've ever tried having a deep intellectual discussion with somebody high up their ass, it's funny, but it's not productive. Pot is not the amazing mind opener that movies from the 60s would have you believe. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Something Trump did recently was stop the U.S. taxpayer from subsidizing places like China from getting free shipping into the U.S. So it's no longer cheaper to ship something from China than it is to ship something from the next city over. Oh, gotcha. Okay. That must have been one that I'm sure it was headlines, but again, I've been away from the internet and I probably missed it. But yeah, that's part of the non-tariff barriers that people have been talking about.
You're in Ohio right now. You've been holding these town halls in red districts across the country. You're saying
when people get high, they turn into Beavis and Butthead. Yes, they do. But look, there can be creative. Hey, I know this is going to cause people. There's some indication that mind-altering substances of varying caliber, whether you're talking about alcohol or much, much harder stuff, that it helps with creativity, like with writing, with storytelling, but it does not help with structural engineering, right? Nobody wants to go on the bridge that was built by the stoner. I know, man. I figured out a way to make spaghetti strong enough to hold a car. Oh, I had this really dank shit, and I was like, oh my God. If we made this out of spaghetti, it would just get elasticy, but it would never break because spaghetti doesn't break unless you cut it. When people get high, they don't come up with good solutions. They come up with good bullshit. And that's why it works for artists, because artists are bullshit artists. It's what art is. It's all bullshit. It's stuff to distract us. And it has a very good place. But I was watching somebody recently talking about the need for artists. And I do believe there's a need for artists as long as they can support themselves, because artists think outside the box and it can lead to other solutions. But it doesn't lead to other solutions from the artist. It leads from somebody else going, wait, I bet if I take that and actually apply some logic and do some reasoning, we could make that work. It never comes from the stoner. Keldrick, thank you. I wonder if the Democrats will ever realize their own inflated egos and disdain for the people they claim to represent are a major factor behind their losing and Trump's presidential victory. No, they won't. Egotistical people have trouble understanding that they're egotistical. It's kind of its own paradox there, because you can never convince them that they're, because in their world they're not. No, I know I admit that I'm arrogant and egotistical, but that's just because I believe in honesty. Most people think, no, I'm just being real, man. I'm just being real. So I get what you're asking, but no, they're not gonna. It's gonna take somebody. It's gonna take a major personality for the Democrats to have a big change. And as we can see, they're going with Tim Walz. All right. I don't think this was sent to me for agricultural discussion, so I'm wondering where this is headed.
Democrats need to do a better job of reaching Trump voters. I want to play something you said at an event in Texas last month.
We let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DNI.
Nope. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You got to define all of this stuff for a long time, and they finally got their say. Thank you in large part to Twitter. Thank you to Elon for allowing us to be able to stand up and actually, unless you're posting cat pictures, right? Nuts. They've allowed us to actually give the counter argument, pointing out that you were allowing, or not just allowing, mandating tampons in boys' bathrooms isn't us defining the issue. It's pointing to the truth. And this is their issue. See, what have I always told you? Control the language and you control everything. Walz gets that. He's just not smart enough to get that. I did see it dangerous. I'll get right to it just a second. But these, they had puppies. Was it like a gross picture of puppies being born? Nuts. I was in the middle of this, and now I'm curious about your puppy picture. They think the problem, and they're right. They think the problem is that they lost the messaging, and they did lose the messaging, but not because it got defined for them. It's because we actually started using definitions, right? You guys tried to define for us what a woman is. It's anybody who identifies as a woman, bruh. And we're like, no, it's somebody with a vagina, dumbass. You know, but what if they were born without a vagina? They have controlled the narrative completely for almost a full decade. And actually, it goes way further than that. The left controlling the narrative goes way back. And they've lost it. We let them. No. We just finally got our say. Because like the asshole you're talking to there, Jake Tapper, tried his very best to do exactly what has been going on my entire life. They tried desperately to run interference for the Democrats and just lie about what was going on. But social media's changed things. And we saw it in 2016. Social media changed things then. And what happened? They locked that shit down. People were getting banned left and right for daring to question the election. How daring to question anything about COVID. How dare you? Daring to question anything about the mainstream narrative that they had set. The die had already been cast. The internet was open and we pushed back against it, and Trump ends up winning in 2016 because people were getting a say. And so they had to be locked down. We saw right after Trump is elected in 2016, the Google people all coming together to have their bullshit cry fest. Oh my God, I can't believe he won. And they said, without shame, okay, a little bit of shame because the video wasn't actually supposed to leak, or the audio, but we will not let this happen again. We won't let this happen again. And that's what they did. That's why everything got locked down. It was controlling the narrative. It was them literally defining everything for us. How dare you make a joke about Rachel Levine being Man of the Year? How dare you? That's a woman. Just because it's got a penis and fathered children, how can you not think that's a girl? You're such a bigot. You're not allowed to speak anymore. Anyway, thank you, Dangerous. There have been stories for years of Trump doing acts of kindness for regular people, but I'm sure that doesn't apply to workers. Stop giving us all bad names by association, Mr. Walz, you dumbass. Timmy has to believe that everybody believes like him. This has become a serious thing that Democrats really need to pay attention to if they ever want to win again. As far as I know, there's no studies that show Democrats understand Republican arguments. There's tons that show Republicans understand Democrat arguments. Because we have to, because it is the point that is pushed out. And in order to have any kind of decent argument against it, you have to know what the argument is. And the left never has that. The left never comes out like with tariffs. Did you hear Walz actually explain anything wrong with how the tariff, other than, oh, he's just doing it wrong? Did he point out like, okay, these tariffs are going to have a negative effect by raising the cost of Tactite or whatever the fuck he was saying in Guadalajara, and Guadalajara is the biggest importer of our. No, it's just Trump did it wrong. Trump's wrong. Well, how? How would you do it different? We need more women in management. Because they don't actually have answers for anything. They have ideas. They're full of ideas. A lot of really, really bad ideas, but they don't have answers for any of it. Do you remember Kamala's big answers for everything? $25,000 to buy a new home. You know, as long as nobody in your family's ever owned a home. Nobody was out there. Look, it comes from this whole thing, this notion that young people today just can't buy houses. One, yes, they can. But two, they just saw, hey, people can't afford houses. I know. Throw money at them. That'll make it so they can pay that mortgage that they can't get on their own if we just take $25,000 off the top. And yeah, taking 10% off of the cost of a home, say it's a $250,000 home, that'll lower your mortgage rate some, but not enough that it's going to keep somebody who can't get that mortgage in the first place on their own from going under after they have it. None of their plans make any sense. It's just, we're going to do it and everything will be good. And that's not how the real world works. Cause and effect is a thing, even if you guys don't understand it.
DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in.
Yeah, you didn't even do that. I don't remember you standing up and supporting your tampon bill. I remember you running from it. I don't remember you standing up for your pedophile bill. You ran from it. And do you think that's really why you lost? Is that you didn't stand up harder for pedophiles? You fucking shitbag. This is the clip where I realized, because this is from like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and I saw this. I'm like, oh, please let them go down this path. Because this comes out right around the time of the Don Lemon interview with Bill Maher, where he's like, we just need to put AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Eric Swalwell out there because people love them. No, the press loves them. The press loves them. The people don't. But this is the press thinking that they are, out there with everybody else. We're the regular people. All those people I fly over and would never talk to in person, I'm just like them.
And we're going to execute them.
I mean, the issues you identified there.
Hang on one moment. We got breaking news. Jack's here. Jack, my friend, how are you?
What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right, cool.
You sound groggy. You okay?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling good earlier, so I went to bed.
Me too. I did a game stream, and I was planning to do like a 2-hour game stream and then come do this. And about half an hour into the game stream, I was like, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, I've been sleeping off and on all day for the past like 36 hours. And
Like
I don't know what's going on.
sick or sinuses? I know sinuses are a bitch up here right now.
It's mostly my sinuses. Got that lake
Oh.
effect bullshit kicking my ass. But yeah, I just had kind of a rough day anyway, but sinuses weren't helping any. But apparently I have a couple of chats here.
Oh, go
One
ahead.
from Evolved Potato about 21 minutes ago. Something that has ended recently because of Trump is U.S. taxpayers, or the U.S. taxpayer paying for places like China getting to get free shipping into the U.S. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the U.S. postal system had a special economic agreement with China that they could ship for free or minimal cost into the U.S. Yeah, I didn't realize Trump put the kibosh on that, but yeah, that's a huge deal. So if you got something from a small business over there, say on like eBay or something,
Yeah.
they got to ship for pretty much free. That made it cheaper to ship something from China than it is to ship something from the next city over. Yeah, so if somebody in let's say Beijing shipped something, it was basically free, but Thailand had to pay a little more. And if you ship to China, get ready to fucking bend over for that lube job. So I guess he ended that. Thank you, Evolved Potato. And then I got another
Before
one.
you move on, hang on. I'm glad you came here because I haven't been paying attention to any of the news, and that was brought up earlier, and I did not know what it was in reference to. Why?
Oh yeah.
Why is our post office wasting money like this? They're doing that. They were funding NPR. We can't. We're running a $9 billion deficit. Why are they paying for shit like this?
There was a restructuring of the post office under Obama, and a lot of this stuff happened then. Check this out. If the post office is located inside of a federal building, the post office has to pay rent.
In a federal building?
Yes. They have to pay rent to the other places. It's a way to, that's why the post office keeps raising postage prices, because they keep having to pay rent to the government for existing, basically. It's one of the most poorly run things I have ever heard of. And the more you dig into it, the stupider the shit is. There's a thing where if you want to mail something out of the country, you can do it by shipping it domestically to this place in Kentucky that will then ship it overseas. So you only pay the domestic shipping, but it's within this specific program. And it saves you a ton of money until you realize the post office is paying the rest of the money on the other end.
That sounds like something government would do.
Yeah. What you're not paying up front, the post office is paying on the back end, so your taxes are paying for it.
Of course.
And then the other one I got was Evolved Potato saying about 10 minutes later, never mind.
Yeah. I'm not shocked by that. I just hadn't read any of the stories because I've not done really anything online.
Yeah, a lot of the tariffs that Trump is hitting China on are actually very beneficial to the U.S. if it works out right.
Not according to Tim Walz here.
Walz is a retard, and I've never met a socialist or a communist that was good at economics, because by definition they can't be.
True. All right, I backed this up just a little bit so you can see the full clip that Jake is playing for Tim here. Somebody sent this to me and said I should watch it, Jack, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, Tapper's a retard.
We're gonna play the clip in its entirety.
We let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them.
I mean,
I 100% support that plan, Tim. Other than the executing them part, I'm all for you guys standing up and actually saying what you believe in, because you lie constantly. Whether we're talking about killing babies, it's just a zygote, or DEI. It's just we're making racial relations good. You guys lie about everything. So please be honest about it, because I guarantee you America is going to go, wait, I've been supporting what? Because I've been lied to about it constantly. Remember, control the language, you control everything. All right, let's see what Jakey's question is about playing this, because I do love that clip.
The issues you identified there were immigration, DEI, and woke. You think Democrats' problem was that you just didn't do a good enough job explaining the policies, and not that voters simply didn't just reject what you were selling, particularly?
This is what I was talking about earlier. This is a common thing. If you're arguing with somebody, you will eventually run into people who are like, you don't understand what I'm saying. You're like, no, I understand 100% what you're saying. You're just wrong. And they can't get it through their heads. They think we just haven't. We let them define it. No, we understand what it is. We 100% understand what the fuck you're talking about. It's just really stupid. Look at his face. Yeah, he's like, oh my God, he's asking me a hard question. Play. There we go.
On immigration, I wonder.
No, on immigration, what we were asking for is a bipartisan policy that strengthens immigration control, that recognizes that we need a workforce here, that they should be allowed here legally, and that when they get here, they're part of the American fabric. And that
we got it. You don't think, hey, who's going to pick your fruit? Hey, your tables are going to be empty, that we didn't understand what you were saying? Because you guys use those two exact quotes. You're going to sit down for Thanksgiving dinner and there's going to be nothing there because the only way we get food is illegals. No. Jack, you okay over there? I see you're muted. I hope everything's good. You all right, bud?
Yeah, I just having technical issues with my microphone here. I'm trying to sort out.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure you're not, because you sounding sick and you say you've been sick, and I didn't want you.
Well, I'm blowing my nose too, but I'm blowing my nose a lot today. But no, my microphone's on the downslide.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, I'm here though. Thank you, Tyrai. The Chinese factories have not been paying their employees for 4 to 6 months, while the CCP kills other nations' economies by flooding our markets with their IP thieving goods. Yeah, that's one of the things I think Trump wants to stop. You see, I blame a lot of this on Bill Clinton for allowing the CCP into the World Trade Organization.
Yeah.
And that opened up a lot of markets for them. And they, of course, have long-term strategies. But they've just been stealing our research and development and then making knockoffs of everything. They haven't had to do anything. That's one of the reasons they don't like Trump, is he could put an end to that. So, yeah, fuck China. Hopefully this cripples them. And they have been also tearing down small villages and sending people to the cities for some reason. Nobody knows exactly why, but they have been. Those ghost cities, they're actually starting to get populated.
If I had to guess, I mean, sounds like propaganda things, honestly.
It's probably for control, since they're doing a lot more of the 15-minute city stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's for control over people. Either that or they're getting on a war footing and want the population more tightly compacted where they can keep an eye on everything. Because if they're going to either go into Taiwan or a neighboring country, that's what they would do with their population. There was a really good book on Chinese stratagems, and I don't remember who wrote it. But one of the things that they do is when they have a large male population, they tend to go to war because they don't have a lot of females anymore. So, yeah, if they want to really control the population, you got to have them in those 15-minute cities where you have to have the right social credit score to exit. Well, you have a lot more freedom out in the country where there's not as many agents to keep an eye on you.
You think, how long do you think it's going to take them to recover from the one child policy? Because that has devastated them.
Oh, it's going to be at least a generation. unless they go get women from another country, it's
Well-
going to be at least a generation, probably two.
Didn't they stop that in the early 2000s?
They just stopped it a few years back. It hasn't been that long.
I swear it's been a couple of decades by now.
Well, no, in the 2000s, they said people in the farmlands could have more than one kid.
Oh, okay.
But because they need them for the farms.
For
and they
the farms,
realized
yeah.
the farms weren't working out. But now they're moving a bunch of farmers into the city and making them take factory jobs. So who knows?
Communism doesn't work, kids.
Yeah. You can fool everyone for a while, but there's only so much before everything collapses. Look at North Korea. Your total communist utopia. It's all the stuff they wanted. It's a dead country.
Never forget the whole one China policy, or one child. I keep saying one China because there's that policy too. One child policy was because communism didn't have the money to support all the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and they realized that even after the famine, they still couldn't support the population, and millions died in that. But yeah, now they need those women to repopulate, because if they had made it so your girls could inherit things too, that would have worked, but they didn't do that. So still favored the male child because of lineage and inheritance.
Yep.
But it'll probably take them another 30 to 50 years to recover from that, unless they get war brides. So
Magister says the one child policy has been gone for over a decade. I live in China near Shanghai. It'll still be a while before their population bounces back. Families are given incentives to have kids. You have to, because it's a poor country. And I never understood how they didn't understand what they were doing. At the very least, you want a 2-child policy, because growth is exponential. And once you reach a certain place in society, Jack, you have to replace your workforce, because people retire, get old, and die. And if you're only replacing half of your population, because that is what a one-child policy does, it only replaces half at best. Even if you have an even mix at 50-50, that's only half. And now all of those workers are retiring. You have half as many to come back in and make that shit work.
Well, it's one of the problems of having a large bureaucracy, though. You don't always have departments lining up on how things are going to work out. Because you have one group saying, all right, one kid only, there'll be an even mix. But then you have the inheritance and lineage section of the cultural aspect saying, no, we're not going to let women inherit anything. So, of course, the boys are going to get favored.
Yeah.
And then you get an uneven split, and nobody's going to ever take responsibility because it's communism. And they're very slow moving. So unless like somebody like Xi Jinping or his predecessor walks up and demands they remove it, there's too much internal confusion and paperwork to ever get that going in any efficient manner. So I think the fact they're giving economic incentives now to have more kids is good, and it's going to speed things along. Well, it's good for the Chinese anyway. But it's probably too little too late for the next generation.
Yeah, I think that one China or one child, God damn it, that policy is going to have repercussions for 2 to 3 generations at least.
Yeah, just
devastated your own. You devastated your own population.
Yeah, it's the one Chinaman policy.
And this isn't the same as like when there's a war. After any war, there's a massive lowering, I guess is the word. The population of men just goes way down. But remember, men can repopulate very quickly as long as we have enough women to do it.
Yeah.
And they made their problem worse with their heritage shit. That there was no incentive to have girls.
Yeah, none at all. And men
actually,
are favored throughout society anyway. It's a misogynist or patriarchal culture. So
yeah. All right, back to these two idiots.
Hang on, I got 2 more here.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Keldrick. The Democrats controlled the narrative and still lost to a carnival barker and an autistic nerd. That must sting. Yeah, I would say it probably hurts a little bit, but fuck them. And thank you, Evolved Potato. There's a much bigger problem than the actual one-child policy law. They now have a culture of not having many kids, and a lot of people don't want any kids at all, even if possible. That's why they're trying to economically incentivize them, because a lot of people, I mean, it's expensive raising kids, even in China, when you're making dirt and wooden nickels, you know.
They're trying the same thing here. They're just doing it without actually making it a policy. How many stories have we seen about people choosing to go childless?
Yeah, it's the population's too big, and they brainwash people into not having kids, and then import a bunch of third worlders that can't stop plopping babies out.
Yep. The one
Until your
grace,
Muslim future, UK.
The one saving grace we have here in that is, again, it'll be much easier for us to repopulate because we put women first in all of that.
Yeah.
And so we just have more women's. Anyway, let's get back to this tard boy.
That is the bipartisan bill we had. Donald Trump snatched.
No, it wasn't. Stop it. Stop it. The bipartisan bill you had was a guaranteed amount of illegals coming in every day. You are not going to sit here. He's not going to do this. He's not. You can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but his policies, without even getting any of them passed yet, have already fucking worked, dickhead.
No. We need more illegals. Who's going to mow our lawns, monkey? You expect me to go out and do it?
How about the
ones? My pseudo slave.
How about the ones that are here on the program he pretends doesn't actually exist? We have guest worker programs.
Oh, nope. All immigrants are beautiful, however they get here, and something.
Anyway.
Up college grad students and sending them back, or sending folks to El Salvador illegally. That's not the policy. But for us to them to say, we don't care.
Okay, let's say that's not the policy. Is it working?
Hate fact.
You have people self-deporting, going on to TikTok
right.
and shit, self-deporting because they're afraid of getting thrown out and having it done for them. What a fucking idiot. Look, it's working, but he's doing it wrong. This is not the way you do it because it's working. That's what you take away from this. He doesn't like it because it's working. All right.
Care that violent criminals come in. We most certainly do. What we were asking for.
There's too many pauses. Hang on.
Back, or sending folks to El Salvador illegally. That's not the policy. But for us to them to say, we don't care that violent criminals come in, we most certainly do. What
we most certainly do care about that. 158 Democrats voted against removing illegals who've raped women and children.
Yep. Never forget that. It was specifically rapists and murderers, but no, they voted to keep them here. They're fighting desperately. The guy that allegedly got mistakenly deported was on the deportation list anyway, and he was an MS-13 gang member. They keep saying, "Oh, a Maryland father." Yeah, he may have 5 kids, but he's still an MS-13.
And the only reason he had a removal order, and a judge said, "Nah, bruh." For no reason. There was no good reason for that order. Just let him stay.
They want that violent, chaotic psychopath in the country to terrorize Americans. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
But hey, he doesn't want violent people here, Jack.
Oh, that's what they say, but who are they fighting for every single time?
Remember how much shit there was because Donald Trump called MS-13 a gang known for beheading families in villages who dared stand up to them. Animals?
Yep.
Like, no humans are animals. How dare you? Just because they beheaded kids because their dad said they couldn't be selling drugs in his area. How dare you?
That's just late-term abortion, monkey. Life means nothing to these monsters. These people are fucking demonic, man.
See,
I don't...
Go ahead.
No, I'm just sick of this shit. They're fighting for the lowest form of scum to stay here. Why? To what end? Why do you want all these psychos and killers roaming among us?
And this is what I was getting at with him, because he's like, we let them control the narrative. No. The narrative, especially in the legacy media, is what you say, Tim, because that's what they do. They just repeat the stupid shit Democrats say. You didn't lose because we didn't control the narrative. You lost because your bullshit lies were on display. Kamala, no, I'm not for illegals, raising her hand that her Medicaid plan would cover illegals. That's not us lying about you. It's pointing out who you are. We don't want, you can sit there and tell me you don't want violent people here all you want to, but 158 of your brethren and sisterin voted to keep rapists here.
Yep. And how many of them called the 2020 riots non-violent?
Yes.
What is their idea of violence then?
If it's against them, that's the only violence.
Yeah, that's the only real violence, is right-wing violence. Although if you drive a Tesla, you're kind of on the fence, so probably still fair game.
Yeah.
Lefties.
We were asking for is the resources to make sure they don't get here. And the same thing with the other.
Trump didn't get any of the resources in that bill, and he's making sure they don't get here.
Yeah. See, they want to bribe other countries and make us poorer.
Yes.
That's what they're really complaining about, is there's there's multiple things at play that they're working against them. Trump's exposing their scheme to bring people here. Their waste of funds by making us poorer and giving our money away to other countries, and the violent psychos that are actually coming in the country. And they hate all of that because they want all three of those things. These people want to destroy America.
Yeah, they wanted to. We were going to hire more Border Patrol agents to what? Remove barbed wire from Texas?
Yeah. Yeah. See, Build Back Better is a restructuring of America. They want to tear it all down and build it back up as a communist utopia of some kind, as a third world one.
We had our Border Patrol agents making sandwiches for illegals.
Yep.
You can say, hey, we need more Border Patrol agents. How about we start with having the ones we do have doing their fucking job instead of being nursemaid to illegals?
No, their job was what they were doing. They were concierge to the newcomers because they have to destroy America by lowering living standards. Because if you sow enough chaos, then you can say, I am the cure for the chaos, and get overwhelmingly elected and maintain your power in perpetuity because you are fighting the tide of chaos.
I just don't understand how he's got the balls to sit up here and go, what we needed was that legislation, which Trump didn't need. Trump's doing it wrong. What he's doing is working. Yeah. This is the problem, Timmy. And this is what I told you guys about how they do not understand the arguments. His only thing is our way is the only way to do it. That you have proof that what Trump is doing is working and that it didn't take any new legislation. That doesn't matter. No. Because all that matters is Tim Walz knows how to fix things by doing shit the same way they've been doing it. With this nonsense of we just need comprehensive immigration reform. No, we don't. We just got to fucking apply the laws.
We need comprehensive spending. We need to bankrupt the country faster so we can become a vassal state of our Chinese overlords.
Oh my God, he's annoying, dude.
It's the disingenuousness. It not only annoys you, but it's so grating because you know that he's either lying or a useful idiot. And in either case, he's incredibly dangerous.
I can't believe this man is smart enough to know he's lying.
No, I think he's a useful idiot.
I think he's a tard, yeah.
But some of these guys behind the scenes, they are very, very dangerous individuals. And we're lucky we dodged a bullet this time. After 4 years of Biden, God, things could have been really bleak.
Can we stop calling them useful idiots and start calling them useful tards?
Yeah, I mean, we could. I prefer the term useless eaters or bread goblin, but that's very Hitlerian of me.
Did you know Nuts got suspended from Twitter?
For what?
Apparently posting a picture of a dog and puppies.
That's weird.
That's what she's telling me. I'm still not sure I believe her. Marty, my friend, I sang to you at the beginning of the show, my friend.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Like last week. We were
I hope
here.
it was a good one, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I don't know why I know why I called him Marty, because on Twitter his name has Marty in it. That's P Dog for those of you like, who the fuck is Marty? Anyway.
Dead naming P Dog.
I'm dead naming him.
Other policies. It's not a woke policy to provide food for children to get breakfast and lunch, and we get better outcomes from that.
Literally nobody has called food for poor people woke, you dumb lying motherfucker.
Waste of money, maybe, but woke, no.
Can somebody find me the video of people calling food for kids woke? I'm going to need to see that one.
Maybe food for illegals.
No, even then it's not woke. I have not heard anybody refer to immigration policy as woke.
Well, I think they already got all the cross-dressing, transgender, two-spirit people over here from third world America.
Damn it, Dangerous. He's going back in the stream lore. He said, did you call him Marty because his mom tried to bang him? P-Dog's mom did not try to bang him. I'm just going to throw that out there.
P-Dog's a time traveler?
Still say Marty would have at least slipped in a digit. Here we go.
He defined things on their terms that weren't true. And what I'm saying is, are we going to turn away from being a country of legal immigration? Are we?
I'm sorry. Did you just try to redefine woke as people giving food to poor, starving children, and then say that Donald Trump defined things incorrectly?
Yep. Also, he wants to end legal immigration.
What the fuck are you?
No, this is what happens when you have these pussy little soy boys in charge. Most of the time, they're stupid, they're cowards, and they don't know how anything works, and they're just going to lie through their teeth to get what they want.
All right.
You're going to turn away from a country that thinks diversity and making sure that we don't have gaps in income between blacks and whites. Those are policies that have strengthened America. And I think what we allowed ourselves to do is we got timid. And then when we got power, we didn't pass things that improved people's lives. This whole idea, I think.
I'm not going to disagree with him there.
Yeah. If anything, they made them a lot worse.
You're going to have to show me where diversity has helped anything. Diversity, they're always like, oh, you just don't want diversity. I don't care about diversity. I care about results. You think it matters whether or not it's a woman or a man who comes up with a good idea. You think it's important whether it's a black guy or a white guy who comes up with a good idea. I don't give a shit about the adjective before guy came up with good idea.
Look, Monkey, you just don't like that bridge collapsed because a woman developed it.
Okay, that part's true.
Yeah.
But that's just because women suck at math, man. There's very few who are good, and you can't get enough of them together to make a bridge.
That is a hate fact.
Oh, God.
Then they'll start fighting with each other. They'll start syncing up. Oh, what a nightmare.
See, this is how you know that they don't get it and that they don't get the argument. Because his dumb ass is like, diversity has made us stronger. How? Give me one example.
No, you're not allowed to ask.
Give me the statistics.
Nope.
You can't even lie with statistics. Lie to me with statistics.
Oh. Threaten Monkey with a good time.
Go in there and cherry pick so I can rip it apart with what it really says.
No, you wouldn't understand. It's above your little monkey brain.
It's just nonsensical, man.
Of course it is. These people are idiots.
the Democratic Party gets theoretical, talk about food insecurity. People are hungry, get them food. People don't
that's very theoretical, buddy. You got it. You're genius.
One,
Why do all dumb people think they're so smart?
well, this is one of the points where they're academic. We got too academic. And in this case, I'll give them that, but it's only because if you pay attention to what they're really saying, it doesn't mean anything. Food insecurity does not mean people are not eating.
But they're insecure, monkey. That's a scary word. Insecurity. They ran it through like 8 focus groups. They would know.
Yeah, I guarantee you they did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dark Conservatarian, thank you. Make sure there isn't income gaps between black and whites. Wasn't that exacerbated by LBJ?
We don't talk about
we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about the father of welfare queens.
Once again, for those of you who are new to the show or have forgotten, food insecurity just means that your diet changes. If you eat every day ramen, not good for you. But according to the way that they figure out food insecurity, if you start having a sandwich, you're now food insecure because your diet changed.
Oh, and you're probably scared about that, aren't you? Because all the plebs are stupid. Oh, are you a dumb little rube? Look at you, dummy. We got to take care of you because you're stupid. Stupid peasant.
Food insecurity just means that you might not get your regular diet all the time. And that can be for a host of reasons. But they never point that out. They just use that scary little term.
A house, make sure they have a living wage. That's the point that I'm saying is, Fox News will glorify, he's for DEI. Not your definition of DEI. My definition is rule of law that's fair, that everybody gets an opportunity. And that's the point.
DEI, by its definition, breaks the law, you dumb motherfucker.
He's okay with that as long as he's the one breaking the law.
DEI violates the equal opportunities laws all across the country.
Monkey, how can you say such things?
My definition of this is things that it's not actually.
He's helping people. It's the spirit of the law, not so much the legality of it, monkey.
It's the AOC. Hey, they care about factually accurate instead of morally correct.
Exactly. And you're morally incorrect by wanting to snatch food from these people's mouths. Oh my God, you're so evil. Oh, how could you want that? How can you want to take away all their free housing benefits and all their free college? You're a monster. You know that? Monster.
If your definition of DEI is just following the law, why does it break the law? How about you? This is what I was talking about with them. Hey, just be honest. Be honest about what you're saying, because what you're talking about is breaking the law, because you're talking about hiring people based on immutable characteristics.
Breaking the law.
Illegal. Can't do that. That's your guys' rule, not mine. I think you should be able to hire and fire based on whatever fucking thing you want to.
Oh my God. What? No. You can't fire that glorious person of color that we forced you to hire for tax reasons. No.
I think somebody should be allowed to have a blue-eyed, blonde-haired workforce, just as somebody should be able to have a black-only workforce. It's your business. You should be allowed to do that. But I don't get that say.
You should be allowed to fuck it up however you want.
Let the market sort it out. And you guys are the ones who are like, no, we can't hire based on, or you can't hire and fire based on race. Fine. That's your rule. And now you're telling me we have to do that. And claiming that it's the law. You're a liar.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Real quick. Thank you, Keldrick. Not to be crude, but there's a reason zoos tell you not to feed the animals. People aren't so far removed from animals that similar rules don't apply. I agree. One of the problems is people get addicted to the free stuff and they expect it. That's exactly what the analogy is here, I think. So when you are used to handouts, you tend to get really upset if somebody tries to take them away or change them. So you get people hooked on that. And you're like, oh, those guys over there are going to take it if you don't vote for me. I will save it. In fact, I will give you more free stuff.
Yep.
And that's
Dangerous,
very
thank you.
alluring.
Thank you, Dangerous. Wrong, Tim. When Democrats were in power, they absolutely passed bills that helped or that benefited people. I mean, Democrats are shitty people, but they are still people, right? Also, the term living wage is stupid. The term living wage is meaningless.
Yeah, that's another one of those focus-tested phraseologies. Oh, I want to be able to have a living wage. And it's this utopian vision of being middle class.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to be middle class. There will always be poor people. There will always be rich people. In the generic sense of like people that don't have as much and people that do have a lot. Because that's how it works. You don't like it? I'm sorry. You haven't been paying close attention to civilization since its inception. Because you have smart people, you have dumb people, you have people that are less abled, you have crippled people. There's all sorts of reasons that people can go down in economics. And there's no guarantees in life. You're never going to be able to eliminate that because somebody will always fall for magic beans.
Lisa says, I hate these people came up with the term food desert. Food desert is not a meaningless term. And it is a real thing. I don't like the term because it just sounds stupid.
Yeah.
What it means is it's places where there's nowhere to buy food in a reasonable distance. And we had that here for a while, Jack. When I first moved to this town, there were 3 grocery stores. And a couple of years ago, we had none.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it happens a lot in the Midwest and smaller communities, but also largely what they're talking about is urban areas.
Yes.
Why does that happen? High crime rate. They won't ever talk about that.
Whatever the issue is, because like here, it was just there's not enough incentive to build it because you're not going to make money. You'd have to have a second job while owning a grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that is regulation problem.
Yeah, and so whatever the cause is, it's a real thing, but they never have a real answer for it. Especially like with the crime one. If you want to solve the problem, because putting a grocery store in a high population area should be very lucrative.
Yeah, but look at what Walmart or Walgreens and CVS are doing out in places like San Francisco. You've got such high theft rates, they can't keep their stores in operation.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot during the riots of 2020, where you would see, okay, they're going out to riot again. Did they go burn down rich people's houses? No, they went and stole shit and destroyed a store. Cleaned out a fucking Target, man.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive. Target's got a lot of crap in it. But yeah, they cleaned it out. They cleaned out all those shoe stores, all those strip malls. All those jobs are not coming back.
Yeah, and
they may be insured, but don't be delusional.
There's so many incentives not to rebuild there.
Yeah.
Ricada's coked up 9-year-old. Thank you so much. I experienced food insecurity when the meanie police took away my powdered candy. It made me so sad, Uncle Monk. Do you knows what I mean? Yes, we all like pixie sticks.
Yes, especially Ricada's 9-year-old. Oh man,
Nick,
yeah.
Now look,
go ahead.
Oh, did you hear the story of a couple of cities in Texas are now locking up all their high theft stuff?
Yeah, there's cities and there's some stores that lock up literally everything now.
Yeah, but they're not just out west anymore. They're moving southwest, apparently, with all the Californians. It's disgusting that is a trend.
Well, we're not taking care of the problem.
No,
and look, the problem is
even address it.
Yeah, because throwing him in jail doesn't help anything. They should be thrown in jail, Jack, for breaking the law, but that is addressing the symptom and not the problem. We have a problem in this country with our culture.
Yep.
We have a problem in this country. I mean, you had people cheering for that fucking retarded Burton Ernie offspring murdering a man because healthcare sucks. Go fuck yourself.
It's
We incentivize crime and cheer it on. And
it's glorified in the pop culture.
yeah, we're not talking about people who are like Robin Hood, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. We're talking about a cold-blooded fucking retard murderer. Like, he is so dreamy. Meanwhile, everybody that's talked about how dreamy he is, if he had talked to them on the street beforehand, hey, get away from me, Peg. Because the guy looks like a rapist.
Yeah, he does. He's inspiring people to do similar things. There was a shooting at a Walgreens recently. Couple people died. I think 7 people got injured, but the guy that did it was this big fat dum-dum who said that Luigi inspired him.
Yeah, and he hated pharmacy, so he decided to go kill a pharmacist.
Yeah. And that's unacceptable. We can't run a society based around criminals. You end up with warlords regionally, and nothing will ever get done. Look at Somalia.
Well, the biggest problem is that it's the crazies who are going to react, because the good people who would stand up to this aren't going to do it.
Not anymore.
Keldrick, thank you. The common thought in poverty and crime is that poverty causes crime, but the truth is far more often crime causes poverty. If you want communities to be better off, the solution is usually to crack down on crime. It's a circular cycle. I mean, we do know that poverty leads to crime, but typically you crack down on that so it doesn't get out of control. And we're just like, so they can't help it. They're robbing that Nike store for the bread. Remember AOC told us they're just rioting for the bread. Like,
yeah.
Damn. How much bread do they got at the Nike store?
Apparently a lot. It's all hidden in shoes. But that's one of the things. You can't make excuses for crime.
No.
You have to put an end to it so that the other poor people have a chance to thrive.
Yes.
You're never going to get out of poverty if you're surrounded by criminals all the time. You're in survival mode.
You got to bring in law and order. I get what you're saying, that crime causes more poverty. It does, but it's kind of a chicken and egg thing going on there. But if you don't kill the chicken, you're going to get more eggs.
The downside is that a lot of this revolves around like people that are lower IQ or uneducated, because a lot of, unfortunately, very poor people do not value education, and it's across racial dynamics. They don't value education, so they don't have any prospects at all. If you don't learn anything, how are you ever going to get a good job?
I think if you're stealing to feed your family, turn the other. But if you're stealing for sneakers, well, I don't even agree with stealing to feed your family. I understand it, but it's not something to be glorified. And it does make it a little bit more understandable, but you still face the consequences for stealing. We don't just go, hey, he had to feed his family. There's plenty of ways to feed your family before you ever get to stealing.
Yeah, so there are food banks.
And it sucks that people live in that kind of manner, especially in the U.S. where we're so rich. But it's not necessary. And we kind of hand wave it away. I mean, they're poor.
I mean, Monkey, we're speaking from experience. We're poor.
Mm-hmm.
We're food insecure. I had something different for dinner than I had for lunch. So I'm food insecure. So feel free to give us your money to lift us up. I couldn't even say that without laughing. No, you're right. It's just a very difficult situation. The problem is there's always going to be poor people.
Yep.
The war on poverty will never end. There will always be poor people. Until we have food replicators like on Star Trek, even then, somebody will probably trade it for meth.
Yeah, probably. I get it. I get being poor, but the AOC thing just pissed me off so much because we didn't see anybody steal food, Jack. We watched a lot of riot footage. Did you see anybody steal any food?
No, but they probably stole some from Target after all the
Probably.
shoes and all the clothing was gone. Like all the stuff that was worth stuff. Then they're like, nah, I'll make a sandwich later.
That one strip mall we saw the one time where they're just going down and showing how everything has been hit. Not a single one of them was a restaurant or a food store. It was
No.
a couple of phone stores.
Yeah, yeah. T-Mobile. Yeah. I bet there's a lot of sandwiches in there.
And AOC's not. They need bread.
Yeah.
Why is it always bread with the commies?
Because they crave bread because it's a delicacy in communism.
Shit.
You have wheat? What?
All right, let's hear this tard lie more.
Look, I'll be first tell you, Jake. I'm out here doing what I can do. I don't know if I'm the best spokesperson to do it after just.
I can answer. You're not.
No, you're borderline retarded. You sound like a Muppet.
I cannot believe that they're pushing this guy. Did you guys not watch the election and see what happened?
Yeah, he is terrible. Did you see Swalwell give his big enthusiastic speech on April 5th?
No, I haven't seen anything. I heard he said fuck though.
Yeah, he dropped the F-bomb because he's hardcore like that. I'm sure his Chinese handler told him to.
I love that that's become the Democrats' new thing because the other day in Congress, maybe 2 weeks ago now, Jasmine Crockett said shit.
Oh, well, they gotta look more street and build their credibility.
They're embracing the swear words to save you guys.
Yeah,
I don't care if politicians swear, but these guys are so fucking fake when they do it. It's funny.
Oh yeah, it's like my dream of doing a show of old people saying current slang. Like,
Yes.
Jeepers, fam. We finna gonna do some drug deals. What? What'd you say, Grandpa?
When I see or hear that Trump has said fuck or shit, I'm like, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, he's from New York.
When I hear that Swalwell did it, I imagine it's that he giggled afterwards because it's the first time he's ever done it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He
Thank you,
farted in
Dangerous.
celebration.
Some jobs are not worth a living wage, and increasing said wage increases cost, which makes them no longer living wages. Plus, what things should a living wage even or cover? Again, it's a bullshit term.
Yep.
These days, okay, this goes so deep. If you look at like poverty rating or the poverty metrics, they're nonsensical. They've been, I don't know if you know how they do the poverty index, Jack, but it's 10 items. And if you don't have, I think it's at least 7 of them, then you're considered in poverty. One of them is a television.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with whether or not you're in poverty. And same thing with like living wage. When people were talking about living wages and we're like, you have a phone plan that costs $200. They're like, but that is what we need to live. Living wage literally means whatever you want it to.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that poverty statistics have been done forever.
But Dangerous is right, because when they raised the price for people working at McDonald's during the pandemic, look at the price of the value meals skyrocket.
Yeah. No, raising wages doesn't cause inflation. Yeah, where's that money coming from?
Yeah, it's got to come from somewhere. And if why would the business owner just eat that? They're going to pass it on to the customer because they got bills too. They have a standard they're trying to live to. Oh, real fast. Thank you, Okie Native. Here's some Jack money so he doesn't have to go into man whoring to older rich men selling comic books or stealing food. That's the only acceptable progression. Yes, man whoring, then selling your stuff, and then theft. That's the order I'm doing it.
Thank you, Q. So speaking of Crockett, yesterday she said, completely seriously, that the U.S. needs illegal immigration because black people were done picking cotton. What?
Yeah, she said that. Time for a later Hughes to do it, I guess.
Legit legit just tried to justify slave labor on national television. Wow.
She's not smart, dude.
She does know that slavery's been over since 1865, right?
They don't buy into your concept of linear time. I've tried explaining this to you before, and you just keep going up against reality, and that's not how you look at this. 1864 was both in the future and the past at the same time.
If we suddenly had this illegal immigration thing, it still wouldn't be right. But if it happened in 1870, okay, that would be an argument worth making. But we're a bit away from that, like 150 years.
Pshaw.
Maybe we shouldn't be using it as your argument for modern day slavery, actually.
Well, they do talk about socialism quite a bit, and that's well over 100-year-old failed idea too.
Is she next going to tell us that illegals just can't take care of themselves, so they need us to do it?
Yes, probably.
Fuck, she's retarded. All right.
Yep. Real quick, thank you, Keldrick. I went to a private Christian school for high school. I witnessed many a person swear for the first time because it was cool and edgy to say the word piss. That's what this reminds me of. Yeah. Oh, it said pissy.
Understatement says no, monk slavery ended in 1965. Okay, even if I know you're being facetious there, but let's say we're going to the Civil Rights Act of 64. If by 1970 we saw the numbers that we just saw under Biden, then you could even make that argument. You can't do it 7 or 50 years after that. It doesn't work. Anyway.
Losing an election. But what I know is the public, and you saw it across the country this weekend, they're rising up and asking their leadership to do something.
So we heard.
Okay, the country's not doing that. Paid agitators and bored housewives are doing that. Did you see the video of the chick who was mad that there weren't enough young people at that New York City protest?
Yeah. Well, that's what you get when most of your party is a bunch of boring old people.
Thank you, Q. I'll watch it. I'm assuming it's the video of Crockett saying that. Yeah, this lady, she's really mad because there's no young people there. And then she says this. All it is 30-year-olds and their kids.
Ew,
I'm not
children. Ew.
I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure that if there's 30-year-olds with their kids, there's young people there.
Yeah, but not the young people they want. These are like little snot goblins that are going to wipe their goo all over you.
But what she meant to say is there was no 20-somethings and teenagers.
Yeah.
It was kids who were forced to be there, their parents, and apparently a lot of really old people who missed the 60s. The 60s ruined this country. It really did. There's so many people nostalgic for it who were never part of it that it's disturbing because everybody wants to matter, Jack. They want to be part of that change that we needed all along, right?
Oh, you mean the glorious revolution?
Kind of, yeah. But an actual righteous cause.
Oh, yeah. Well, they all think it's righteous.
Thank you, Dangerous. Thank you. That talking point shits me up the wall. Shits me up the wall. I've never heard that phrase before.
That's pretty catchy. I'm going to steal that. Thanks, Australia. Thanks, Dangerous.
Wages are not produced from hopes, dreams, and unicorn farts. It is a cost. You have to factor wages into your cost/profit margins. Yeah. I have a few people in my life who are unaware of economic realities.
Oh, communists?
As close as they can be without me scheduling my first helicopter ride with them.
Oh, yeah.
They just think, oh no, those people are saving all the money. I've actually worked at the stores where they look how much money they make and seen the books. Individual stores actually don't make that much money. There's not a lot of gross profit there.
No, the average retail establishment across the board makes 35% profit at maximum. And if you do like any kind of food, you're making less.
Food, you make barely anything.
Yeah. Food is usually there's a secondary thing.
Yeah, the only way you're making a lot of money in the food one is if you're like at some high-end fucking restaurant, like a Wolfgang's thing, or You throw Wolfgang on a restaurant and people are like, I'll pay $500 for that.
Yeah,
I don't know
but premium
why.
establishments, they still have higher end servers, people that actually are really good at their jobs. They tend to hire more elite people. And they serve better quality food. Where you go to like Bob's Diner, you're lucky if that dude isn't picking his nose before he hands you his food.
Shit me up the wall, shits me to tears. We have great expressions, you mutt. That's wonderful.
Your former running mate Kamala Harris say she's not here to say "I told you so," although obviously that's what she was saying about all the Trump chaos. We're saying, I have to say that. What does "I told you"?
Stop with that. Oh, what Trump chaos?
Oh, excuse me, Jake Tapper here has said, "I am not on the left."
You've been talking to me about the chaos forever, and the chaos was we got rid of a bunch of people who weren't working anyway. We kicked out a bunch of illegals and are kicking out more and shored up the border. The stock market is bouncing, Jack, which again, this is where money is made.
Yeah, that's how the system works. When there's upset, things move around, hills and valleys. If you're not having that, nothing is going on in the rest of the world.
They were saying chaos before he even was inaugurated.
Oh, yeah, because he's a chaos monster. But sometimes you need a little bit of a shakeup. Yeah, there will be some economic pain because of the tariffs, but it could be very, very short term because a lot of people are going to start building factories and production facilities here. That's the point, to enable Americans to get jobs. It strengthens our economy by having it domestic, and people bypass the tariffs, and we get a working society again, even though people don't want to actually work.
Well, we've also seen, because look, this isn't going to save every American job, but it is opening markets, or at least making our products more accessible overseas, which does help our jobs.
Absolutely.
It's not a cure-all. It's a fix to make things more fair.
And what happens when these things go into effect? Most other countries are going to capitulate over time because they can't afford to have these kind of penalties in place. They need our money.
Yes.
So they're opening their markets up to our goods. People with large corporations are going to build domestically here in the United States, which employs our people. And then they're making more money because they're busy exporting stuff. It's a circle of happiness. We have more markets. We have more employment. We have more diversity of manufacturing. A lot of stuff is done domestically that would be horrifically national security risks done overseas, like, medication and weapons technology.
It's just amazing to me that they're not learning at all. Instead of learning, chaos is just their new buzzword. And they've been running on buzzword for the last 20 years.
Well, fear always sells. And they don't understand tariffs because we haven't really done much with them in, 60 years?
Yeah.
So they don't really understand them. They don't care to. They see Trump doing it, and it must be evil because he is the antithesis of what they believe in.
And just your reminder, he's doing it wrong, but tariffs need to be used. And Congress is just too pussyfied to do their job. All right. Let's let him ask his dumbass question with chaos. We got to talk about the chaos.
No, chaos.
Obviously, that's what she was saying about all the Trump chaos. We're saying, I have to say, though, what does "I told you so" really mean here? I mean, people heard her message.
Wait, what does before you get, what does it mean? What does "I told you so" mean when it's worked? How many government programs have shut down and caused massive chaos in people's lives? Let's use their word. How many of the tons of people who took buyouts from the government have left, and it's just caused so many problems for people needing their government resources?
We don't talk about that.
Even with the immigration thing, they can't point to they have one example of a guy who was wrongfully left the country. And again, he didn't even wrongfully leave the country. They just chose not to pay attention to that judge's order. He was
Yeah.
supposed to be removed. And it's one guy. The most I've seen in any story is 3 people. 3 people had this. Even the video we watched of the IRS agents when they got, or not agents, I guess phone operators. What was it? 4 people, and they only interviewed 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, look how devastating this is. I'm sure it is to them individually, but they'll find more jobs. There's jobs out there right now.
Yeah, look, the government should be a fucking welfare program because
No.
I hate welfare. But you should be like, oh, well, I got a government job. You can never, ever fire me because that's how you get incompetent half-wits like Timmy here, being lifers, leeching off our money forever.
The media is desperate to turn this into chaos, and it's just not. So the I told you so doesn't land, except for with your retards who I think Trump put me in a camp. Oh wait, no, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, yeah.
I wish he would get on those camps, man.
I know. But look, FEMA got their budget slashed, so because they were misspending money for illegals. So yeah, I mean, maybe the FEMA just doesn't have the budget to build FEMA camps anymore.
They did not vote for her. She lost every battleground state. You yourself have criticized the Harris Walz campaign for being too cautious. She may have told the American people, she may have warned the American people, but she didn't do it compellingly enough to win.
Okay, I hear your question, but again, what is the I told you so? I need to know what that is. Is it just the stock market because they actually have something to point to now and go, look, there's some bad going on?
No, they always have to reinforce the chaos theory because that's what their base is afraid of is change and upset. They preach it all the time, but they don't actually want that. They just want more welfare daddies. That, oh my God, things are different now. You should freak out. They're obviously bad. Trump doesn't like illegals. We love illegals. Chaos. It's just a buzzword to keep people afraid.
Tim already brought up the border bill, and their warning about that, which they could give us an I told you so, is it wouldn't work. Trump could not do this without that bill. He caused more illegals to come. Oh shit! They all stopped coming as soon as he got elected.
Yeah, it's like they knew
without a bill. So what was the I told you so that Trump was going to make things better? Anyway, I guess we should hear dumbass's argument. Oh God, this guy's an idiot.
Oh, we weren't bold enough.
That is the absolute point. And look, when I criticize, I'm criticizing myself. I own this. I'm part of the ticket. And somebody has to come up with a strategy. I think this is exactly right. This is the thing.
No, strategy is not your problem. It's your policies.
Oh, they just didn't dump it down enough for you rubes.
We just need a better strategy. We all lived through Biden's double-digit inflation. It's your policies that are the problem. It's not how you're selling them to us. And I understand, propaganda, you know, controlling the language is how you get this shit out there. But we're allowed to fight back now. Even YouTube has released a lot of the stuff that we didn't used to be able to say, we can say now, Jack.
Yeah. Shockingly.
Look, Democrats, it was a good night in Wisconsin. I was over there. We saw that happen.
Is he really going to brag about the Wisconsin Supreme Court thing where they just replaced a Democrat with a Democrat? It was a good night there.
Yes, it is. It's the little victories matter.
I've seen that pumped up so much. And personally, I think part of it is that the right actually, like, we're going to get this one because a couple of big named influencers were like, we can do this because they're actually retards. Some are smart, but some of them just actually like, no, if we just repeat shit long enough, everybody will come out and vote. You really need to know more about voting than that if you're going to pull that shit. The Wisconsin thing was
Wait,
a
Monkey,
nothing.
are you trying to are you trying to tell me that somebody that sells coffee may not know anything about economics or what the market wants?
Somebody who sells so little coffee he can't pay his bills. Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Whose wife still owns her $63,000 to $95,000 airplane? What?
Adabc, thank you. I, for one, am happy government workers can get fired. My DMV person tried to tell me I didn't need a moving permit after showing my car registration had expired.
What?
What?
Wow.
Does she get a kickback for you getting a ticket?
Probably.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Okay. Back to Timmy here. It's just a messaging problem. It's not. I mean, it is if you admit that your message is wrong.
What are they going to refer to this period of American history in the future? Like, is this going to be like the age of special needs? Unless the communists actually do win.
I wish I could be alive in 100 years to see how this is going to be remembered.
Yeah, because they'll be like, they didn't even know what a penis went to. They thought they were female penises.
Oh.
They were really dumb back then.
Jake's face right there is how my face has been this entire interview. Like, really?
Jake's I don't trust this, but he likes to pretend I'm a Republican. You're one of the most left-leaning Republicans I have ever met.
Look how sad he looks.
He should look sad. When these people are unhappy, my life is getting better. That's all there is to it, because these people are trying to destroy our country. And everything we stand for is Western civilization, all the beauty we have brought to the world. They want to tear it down in the name of some failed philosophy from 100 years ago from a homeless freeloader that didn't even have a job. Thanks, Marx.
This is Jake being like, I really have to. This is our leader now. Yep. I'm with you, Jake. Except for I'm smiling about it because I think it's funny as shit. Dangerous, thank you. Heard Timmy and my ears picked up. When working with kids, you develop a negative association to some names. I seriously feel like Walz is going to make people assume all us Tims are morons. No, we don't blame Tims. Although, if I'm going by famous Tims, maybe. At least internet famous Tims.
Donald Trump's doing this. Just to be clear, nobody on the Democratic side is celebrating this. And those folks in the street are not celebrating that Donald Trump's making all these errors. I think what the vice president's saying is,
you guys aren't celebrating the errors because there haven't been any. There's none you can point to. You even got slapped down in the Supreme Court. One of the few things I did see. You lost on the Venezuelans getting shipped out thing.
Yeah. Even though Barrett defected like a bitch.
I'd have to read it and see if she gave specific reasoning. I can see an argument for it just based on the laws that we have. But it would take some serious wrangling. My point being, I'm not supporting it, but I can see how she got there. Where the other three were just like, illegals are good. Real quick, Dark, thank you so much. I still don't approve of reckless tariffs, especially against Taiwan, but people are acting like he's enacting a carbon tax on breathing. Yeah, I don't mind the tariffs. I just don't like how he's doing it. They should be going through Congress. Comrade Kitty, thank you for becoming a member for month number 21. Thank you. Your donations are almost old enough to drink if we used months. Who would go back to Hitler or Marx if you could? Oh, sorry, go back to kill Hitler or Marx if you could, or another choice. See, I believe in the butterfly effect, so I don't know that I would do that. And now they're like, oh, you want to kill Jews? No. but maybe things would have been much worse. Nobody ever talks about that when we talk about horrible things, right?
Yeah, you never know what kind of accidental dystopian future you would create.
Yep.
Real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying maybe Hitler was the better choice of, I don't know German names. Stymie could have been much worse and developed a nuke first and just killed everybody.
Well, one of the things that people forget is that Hitler outlawed the use of bioweapons, so there was no gas deployed, really. But a lot of his underlings didn't approve of that, and they were conspiring behind his back with the Japanese to create like mustard gas and stuff like that to use on the battlefront. But Hitler had been exposed to gas when he was in World War I, and he hated it because it messed him up, made him really sick. So a lot of people forget about that. So some of his own generals and upper management, for lack of a better word, were all for gassing people and doing way more horrific stuff. So I guess maybe some deaths were mitigated that way. I don't know, but it could have been. It could always have been worse.
P Dog, I do not see a slabs from you, bud.
Real quick, thank you. Oh shit, I got a couple of them stacked up here. My bad. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Anna BC, for the generous donation. TDS was also in the Philippines while I was there. I went to see a doctor that started talking shit about Trump. I couldn't say anything because he was the doctor. Always a good call. On my way down the stairs, I ran into a Canadian with a MAGA hat. Oh, that's just confusing. Thank you, Anna BC. I hope you had a really good time in the Philippines. It's a really cool place. And thank you, Tyrai. This will be remembered in a way like they thought body parts worked with Legos assigned at birth, much like a certain prophet whose name starts with an M stated a seed was made between the backbone and the ribs. Oh, well, the history's weird. Thank you, Evolved Potato. I did look into the El Salvador deportations, and the stated reason he wasn't deported last time was because of the gangs. The gangs that no longer exist because they're all in prison. The gangs which he was also a member of one of.
BV says hating gas attacks doesn't make someone a good person. We're not saying Hitler was a good person,
No,
but imagine Hitler if he was okay with mustard gas. It would have been worse. That's our point. Is going back, the idea that you could go back in time and kill Hitler and save everybody, maybe, or maybe none of us exist because the guy who did get in it was even worse.
Yeah, they were very close to developing an atomic bomb in Germany and some other what they called wonder weapons. All of that technology came over here, and that's how we got the bomb and NASA. Because von Braun and Oppenheimer all came over here and developed stuff for the U.S. then under Operation Paperclip. They were very, very close to having all that. They were getting hard water already from like Norway. They were very close to developing a nuclear bomb. If the Germans developed that first, Britain would have been wiped out very, very quickly.
If we were a bigger show, we'd have to spend the next 2 months explaining we're not advocating for Hitler.
Oh, God, no. But again, you just don't know what else is behind the curtain, waiting in the wings.
All right. Let's get back to this because I really do need to wrap this up soon.
This and those folks in the street are not celebrating that Donald Trump's making all these errors. I think what the vice president's saying is that was pretty self-evident that he was going to do that. I do think the challenge for Democrats, and this is, I think, a structural problem that's going to take a lot more thinking. Why, with all of that out there, did they not think we were any better than that? And they didn't. And I'm.
What do you mean? Is he talking about the voters?
Yeah, I know. They're all a bunch of rubes, right? We just didn't dumb it down well enough for the rubes.
I'm very concerned with the folks who stayed home. And these are folks that I'll say once again, Donald Trump has identified their angst. They can't buy a house. They can't afford to get a good education. They're concerned that
he's literally we're done with this because I'm just going to wrap up the show. I can't take this anymore. He's just going to go through the same talking points that they used during the election. P-Dog, that one came through. Let me get this real fast. I say real fast, but it's based on my internet. Thank you, P-Dog. Tapper is the epitome of panicking. Definition on X. I'll have to check it out. And thank you, mid-century German painter. Thank you for the resounding support, dear monkey. It means so much to me that you are such a big fan of my fine art. I hope you rot in hell.
There was a movie where a guy went back in time to kill this famous painter, and it turned and he accidentally only wounds him, and it turned out to be Hitler, and he caused World War III.
Nice.
Or World War II. Yeah, it was great.
No, he's gonna double down on the same stupid shit. I'll finish watching it later, but I really do need to wrap this one up. I just noticed the time. I'll explain afterwards, Jack. But Democrats, please keep doing what you're doing, because you just don't understand that it's you that is the problem. It's not your messaging, it's your message. It's not how you say it, it's what you're saying. Understatement, thank you. Did you see Financial Audit? Love that channel. No. Financial Audit, I'm not sure what that is. Is that a YouTube channel, I'm guessing?
Maybe.
Toss me a link over on Twitter and I'll check it out. But I do need to wrap up. I'm sorry.
Did you get Dangerous's?
Oh no, I didn't. Thank you, Dangerous. We saw what happened when someone tried to go back in time and kill Hitler. We got a 5th Indiana Jones film. I mean, if that's not a real world example of how evil still emerged, I don't know what is. Fair enough. With that, we're wrapping up. Thank you guys so very much. You guys are amazing. We appreciate the support. Thank you for the financial support. You guys are way too kind, but please don't stop because I like to eat. Jack, anything you'd like to show?
I'll drop some links to some stuff in the chat. As always, you guys are awesome. We appreciate all the stuff you do for us. And we think you're very beautiful people who are very intelligent and actually listen to what we say, as opposed to just assuming like so many do. So thank you guys. And it was great seeing everybody out there. We missed you guys.
Indeed. We'll be back later tonight, hopefully much, much earlier. Independent. My sleep schedule's so fucked up right now, Jack.
I blame older boys.
I blame the sleep demons that haunt me.
Oh, yeah. They're a nasty bunch.
Pleasure's always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Everybody take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all next time. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
I'm going to play a video game later. Come watch, please. Is that a good song?
Sure.
To show myself?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dark Conservatarian. Know what happens with the time machine to kill Mustache Man. We got the Soviets being the big bad wolf of World War II. Somebody plays video games. See you guys.
Bye.